Bob Lilac,
Here.
Mindy Reynolds,
Present?
Steve Lawrence, Jim Pierce. All right, we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. Item number 2, will you kindly stand and join me while we honor our country and state flags? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag.
Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one faith, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Moving on to item number 3. Anybody for a public comment, sign up. All right. Is there any consideration for adjustments? Nothing at all. All right. Moving on to consent agenda. Do I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda?
So move.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, regular agenda. Receive the regular monthly report from SJRA, and nobody's here.
They are.
Okay, well, I guess hopefully you read page 17 to 39.
If anyone does have questions, let me know and I can convey that to them.
Okay. Item number 11, received an update on this from the Spring Creek study.
As far as I know, there's no update at this time. I think they're finishing up the report.
You know, one of the things on that study, and I'm not sure it's even been taken into consideration, but you know, the township has that new park down there, that 250 acres that Howard Hughes gave them, which is in the floodplain. You know, that might be a very good thing to present to the township board of, you know, whatever you're going to do there. One of the things you might consider is how do you make that a retention area also? Because it could help those people down there from flooding, could help the people in Grogan's Point also. Because as we know, I mean, you know, nothing's been done since the last time, you know, they got flooded, and it could happen again very easily. But there's 250 acres. I mean, that's a lot of,
Yeah, it's already in the floodplain is the problem. So
but maybe they could dig it deeper. They can do something with it that would make it.
doesn't help. No, when you dig deeper in the floodplain, it just,
Well, the real problem doing that is it would then probably be below the level of Spring Creek, and so when you drain. So you can't have a detention pond below the level of the natural flow of
Sure.
the Spring Creek.
yeah, it certainly have to be higher than Spring Creek. No
Yeah.
doubt. But I did bring that to the engineer's attention though, just to put on their radar to see if that might be something to look into a little further.
Just think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
And instead of putting up pickle court there, they might want to think about the flooding.
I do know that the interlocal agreement that basically created this study had expired. And so LJA had been, or no, SJRA had been putting together an updated agreement that has recently gone through all of the entities involved to allow for the study to continue to get finished up. So that happened over the last 30 to 45 days. And I believe all parties have now signed it. And remember, there's a number, I think 7 or 8 different entities that are involved. So that did also happen in the last 30 to 45 days.
Okay. All right, moving on to item 12. Attorney report.
Under the attorney's report today,
Nothing.
nothing on the attorney's report, you are behaving.
All right, item 13, review of financial policy number 10 regarding investments.
Yep, so that's in your packet. We do not have any recommended changes to the investment policy this year, so we recommend the board adopt the resolution evidencing that we completed the required annual review and that no changes are necessary at this time.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
I so move.
Second, all right, all in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Item 14, One Water Task Force.
No update at this time. I had a meeting about 45 days ago or so to talk about Bear Panther project and no meeting since.
How do we move this thing forward? Do we take it to the Board of Trustees and try to get funding or
What is there to move forward at the moment?
Money.
money? Are we gonna hire somebody to maybe lead it?
Again, right now, there's no action item besides that idea. So met with the township actually yesterday and talked to them about next steps. And I think we all recognize that until there's a specific thing to tackle, and I know that Bob's working on some things behind the scenes, but at this point, there's not really any reason to meet until there's something that we need to address. Now, that may be a separate issue as far as looking at an individual to help. Other as far as having a meeting right now, I don't think there's anything to meet on.
Well, I'm not sure it's a full-time position to hire someone, but if we could look at, and at the Board of Trustees meeting when Jason Millsap spoke, obviously they have some involvement in flooding also that, I don't know, maybe they could be part of it, at least bring them into the equation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. No doubt.
Okay.
But what project would it be? What project, what would be the focal point?
Well, the whole point would be, how do we prevent flooding or how do we at least,
Where?
address things? I
What
mean,
is it? Where's the flooding?
well, with that flooding, I mean, you can have flooding over in your area again?
I mean, Bear Panther and Spring Creek are the two studies that are being done to really address the two, I would say, hotspots or areas that have had challenges in the past. And both of those projects are in study right now. We brought Bear Panther before Warm Water and some legislators, and it didn't go anywhere. And so I think those stakeholders are looking at other alternatives right now to see what they might be able to do to go forward with the project with the funds that they have. And that's, I think that is going to be moving forward, basically to restudy the model or allow the model to run some scenarios to see if there's other alternatives or how much can we get for the funds that we have, even though we're short. As far as Spring Creek, I think we know some of the issues there. But other than those two projects, I'm not aware of any next steps for any additional hotspots or areas to focus on. As far as drainage,
We talked about a regional concept of trying to get, the county involved in that. I mean, or that would just drop the thing and just wait for the next flood to happen.
I think by default, that's probably what's going to happen, unfortunately.
I mean, maybe it's a dead issue. You just, drop it and next time people get flooded, then the interest will be back again. Harris County, complains that every time it rains up here and everything, they get flooded down there. So are we gonna, but they're looking at Montgomery County, but sooner or later we're gonna be brought into the equation. Also saying that, the work cost isn't part of the flooding down there.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think looking at it regionally across county lines is really the way to go.
Yeah.
Because it's a bigger issue across watersheds and the watersheds cross county lines. As we see with the Spring Creek project, Waller, Montgomery to Harris, et cetera. Problem isn't just isolated in a particular spot. You might have hot spots along the watershed, as you go in and out of counties, but I think that's probably the real issue is looking at it on a global scale or regional scale. Which I think the Spring Creek project does. The study does do that.
You have any comments? Okay, move on then. Item 15, receive the general manager's report.
All right. Last month we were under a little construction here. We've pushed through at least the first stages of the lobby improvements with the paint and here and lighting. We'll be looking at technology, some better signage in the lobby and some better interactive customer improvements as well going forward. Wanted to point out, we had several breaks, water line breaks the last 2 weeks, 2 yesterday and a pretty sizable one last week as well. 2 of them were contractor related where they drilled right through our pipes. And then one, Estuary had one that yesterday that was not associated with a contractor. So we continue to get those breaks repaired very quickly and working with Estuary to get them done quickly within a few hours. So yesterday took a little bit longer. It was for Estuary, but they got it done.
Our contractors are reimbursing.
Well, that's our intention is to certainly bill them and go after them for the expenses. And I think what we've found historically is receiving funds back is somewhat difficult at times for some of these small subcontractors, but it's not going to stop us from going for it, trying to get it. At least that's my intention.
What was the one yesterday?
It was in 46. It's a 12-inch line. And then don't recall the other one, the exact location. It was over here in the front. Still remember the address. I wanted to let you know I did speak to the Township Village Association presidents last week. Updated them on the infrastructure renewal project and the need to identify some community work group individuals from the VAs. So I think that went very well. I did want to announce that we have a new deputy general manager that has been identified. And she has accepted. Her name is Kim Wright. She's currently the general manager of Southern Montgomery County MUD across the freeway. So she's been in that role for, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then that was the Estuary division, Highlands division manager for about 4 or 5 years. So has quite a bit of experience in the MUD world, dealing with TCQ, dealing with customers and MUDs. So looking forward to her start on November 4th.
Or to meet you?
And last thing I had was to kick it over to John.
Good morning.
Morning, John.
Page 46, communication. Hopefully, you've been seeing a lot about infrastructure renewal. That campaign officially launched, communications campaign officially launched on the 19th of September. So pushing out across all of our various outlets. A big piece of that was a customer survey. Gather opinions and knowledge levels regarding infrastructure and renewal. We got 366 responses, 366, excuse me, responses. I think generally we saw things in line with our previous community surveys as far as favorability rating, satisfaction levels. That was encouraging. You see some stats there, 86% satisfied or very satisfied with overall quality of our services. 72% satisfied or very satisfied with overall maintenance. You see a dip there when it comes to value received for the money paid for water and wastewater. 63% satisfied or very satisfied and 23.5% neutral. So a small percentage of dissatisfied, but I do think that there's an opportunity there, especially considering how low our MUD taxes are and how favorable our rates are on a regional parity scale. So, I think there's some opportunity there to keep pushing that message, reminding folks of, that we're seeing pretty good value here. We've had a lot of traffic to that standalone website. If you haven't visited that yet, Water Renewal, the Woodlands, please take a look. I know you got a review there with Holloway directly last month, but we're continuing to add things over time and make sure that that information is fresh and accurate, of course, at all times. Some current market materials on the following pages there. Instagram is back up and running, so continuing to expand our social media presence. And on the outreach calendar there on page 49, we've got a major event, or a couple events rather, this Saturday. We'll be out there all day and night at North Shore Park. We've got the Wildflower Festival from noon to 4. That's always a big one, very popular. And then, of course, the 50th anniversary celebration will go into the night. So Woodlands Water will be out there through both of those events. So come say hi.
Any feedback on the new website at all from anybody on the?
I think we've had, anecdotally, we've had, through conversations, folks are very impressed with it. I certainly am. I think Holloway has done a fine job with that. There is a customer portal where folks can submit questions, sign up for a newsletter and so forth, provide input. We've had, Eric, 8 or 10 submissions through that, running the gamut of questions and comments. Most folks, I think, really just seeking more information.
Yeah, if it's something that's, already covered in the FAQs, we'll kind of direct them to that. But if it's some specific, we're actually responding directly to any questions or comments they have. And there's definitely some misinformation that some of them have come with. So you can kind of tell. And so we just stick to the facts and explain, what the real story is. But it's going well.
Question
Well,
about,
no, that's pretty transparent, that's for sure.
Making every attempt to be so, of course.
Yeah, you guys definitely stepped it up, that's for sure.
do we have a policy on responding to people on social media? Because sometimes there's a post and there might be 3 or 4 comments and it's all misunderstanding or whatever it is. But then it just sits there, so maybe we could share the link to that, like, please submit your question here or something, like just a little bit more interactive. Because I hate to go back and look at it and see it still sitting there. And we could reply, other people could reply, but right now there's just some on that specific, the renewal project
So
on our social
I
media.
would love to see that. Nextdoor in particular is pretty hard to track.
Yeah.
Social listening, we call it. So if y'all are seeing things out there, you can screenshot it or however you want to do it. But if you can relay that to me, we may respond if it's called for, or at the very least, we want to know what people are saying. We can track that. Facebook is a little easier to track and respond to. I did some responses last week. But Nextdoor is where we see a lot of conversation happening, and it really helps if you can cue us into that, because it's hard for us to track that.
Okay, great.
And if you want to reply, of course, that's your right. So we love it when residents reply,
Right.
and we see that a lot where residents will correct the misinformation themselves, and that's a win.
It's a full-time job.
And if there's, it is, well, we just don't have the resources to
Yeah.
not only police it, but respond to all comments. What we try to do, what we are able to do on particularly Nextdoor, you can speak to this too, is we try to push out the factual information, recognizing that it'll get picked up, and then by the time the end of the thread it's misinformation again.
Yeah.
And so we just have to keep pushing the factual information out. But if you want to respond and aren't quite sure how to respond, perhaps let us know too. We can help guide you with some of the messaging as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only caution there, I think we talked about a few months back about the public forum issue. So if you have it set up as a director account, then you're going to be subject to that open forum requirement about that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes. I know with being on the DSC, you see all the pundits that make comments on social media about, what you can do and what you can't do. And sometimes you really want to respond back, but, you can't, but.
Well, you can, it's just, if you're doing it in a director capacity, you create an open forum into that U.S. Supreme Court case. So you can't go and delete people's posts or block them.
I think it's great to share that link though, like, here's where you submit questions and share that more and more. So people maybe go there instead of putting false information on
Sure. Yeah.
public place,
Well, and it's not even been out a month. So, I mean,
Right.
we've already gotten, people are starting to see what it is, where it is. You know, that was the whole point, is this was gonna be many months on the kind of unveil, so we could start getting people to go there, to trust it, to get the information that they need. And so far, people are going, they're seeing it.
It is nice when residents respond though back to other residents what the correct information is.
Well, it hardens me when you see that, you know, that there's facts out, you know, that the community understands some of these issues and the members out there.
You know, we've got to put the deed restrictions on the township website where you can actually just go and look at all the deed restrictions. And somebody asked a question about putting the fence up, you know, and then somebody said, oh, you can ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Now, you know, and one of the residents actually pulled that website up and put it on there. So go to page so-and-so, this is all the requirements for, and I'm reading it, thinking, whoa, way to go. Somebody's gonna do it right for a change. It does make you feel good when residents will respond to other residents about, let's do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Good. Have you guys thought about after, you know, on your outreach, have you thought about after you get everything all done and get your landscape and everything about having a open house or anything?
We have talked about that internally, yes. I'm not sure what that would look like or when, but yes, we've definitely talked about that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good, just people, because a lot of people ask, where is that building? You know, it's only been here, how long you been here now? 40 years, whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to, next phase is to finish the public areas downstairs and then work outside as well with the rain harvesting barrel kind of monument, and then clean up the front. And once we get that more established, then I think it'd be good to have an open house. For sure.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Just real quick, wanted to point out a couple dates for AWBD. AWBD has I want to start sharing these things with the MUDs going forward. We had an event last month. We had, I think, 17 board members. Is that right? 20 of us total went to the AWBD New Directors 101, which was great. AWBD was astounded that, you know, we brought that many people. So I'd love to continue to grow involvement. I think AWBD has some great resources that we can use as MUD directors. And so I'm going to share different dates just going forward as reminders to sign up for things. They have a industry webinar on October 25th. On October 30th, they've got their fall seminar. That's on the west side of town. And then the Midwinter Conference in Austin in January 24th, 25th. So those are some dates to come. And if you need help signing up, if you're interested to sign up and go, reach out to Shelley and she can help us get registered. So I have.
That's your report?
It is.
Okay, you forgot that Jeannie's been in, what, 26 years here?
Yes, that's right.
Congratulations.
We had a huge party.
Invited. See,
I wasn't there.
congratulations. Congratulations. Moving to item 16, the Woodlands Water Trustee Report. It's in your packet. Just a couple things. Jason Millsap was there and introduced himself. He's Chief of Staff for the County Judge Keogh, and he's also Director of Emergency Management. And so he introduced himself and made himself available.
Is that a new position or he's new to that position?
No, he's had that position for quite a while now.
Well,
Yeah. On page 37, there's a CDM Smith report that was discussed in the trustees meeting. Basically, it's an old study that looks at the wastewater treatment plants. You might want to look at that. That was about it for the meeting. 17, recess into
Not necessary.
nothing at all. 18, reconvene in public session. Okay, 19, any matters for future agenda? Anything else we want to talk about? I mean, it's only,
you're on a roll here.
yeah.
Think that-
Okay.
Community group committee gonna start?
Hopefully here in the next probably 30 days, we'll have our first meeting.
Okay.
Have you had any responses yet?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Still working on it.
So I think there's 8 VAs that I spoke to, and so we've got a few of those identified. All the MUDs are identified, and then we're finalizing some of the other community and elected official stuff.
Okay.
So we're close. We're real close on getting the participants identified.
All right. Item 20, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Have a safe week. Safe.